Hello dear Ronins, welcome to Ronin Hood. Today it will be an episode about DOTANUKI from HUAWEI swords. So first, here the summary, and we will start with the seller. So DOTANUKI is a special craft from old Japanese feudal times, where the blade should be 2.4 on Sakihaba and not 2.2 centimeters as most of the time with regular Shinken. So from 1305 to 1550, from the old period, the Koto period in Japan, they were known as a real Shinken, tough Shinken, very sharp, tough, and not fragile for the field of battle, and have been known for being simple, but as Koto, all swords very sturdy. So here you can see the measurements on the websites of HUAWEI swords, and it's T10. You have all the measurements, and the sori should be 1.8 centimeters. Remember that number for later. And one Mekugi Ana make it a special, really precious craft, because most of the time with all the Shinken from China you have two Mekugi, here just one. So sorry, here is 2.4, and you have POB 1.6. Here you can see the Kashira. It's real Japanese silk, real beautiful Samegawa. All the Koshirai looks like made in Japan. So it's a really beautiful piece of work, maybe the most beautiful one from all the made in China that I've seen with Zesei. So the Shojiamon is wonderful, marvelous. You can't find, I think, something better than this in matter of craft in all the China market with Shinken. So just to start, you should know that, and that will be the most important part way of thinking of all this review. So this is Okisaki with 6 centimeters, Yorimune as usual, and here you can see you have a little high Shinogiji, you have a Niku, and of course Sakihaba is a Sakihaba, the edge is unsharp, it's a Sakihaba of the DOTANUKI style. So high Shinogiji, you have Niku, and you have the DOTANUKI style. The saya is Kuroro, very beautiful, with some like stars on the black lacked saya. Koiguchi is the most clean one that I've ever seen. The buffalo horn on the Koiguchi make it a safety one. The Koigata is really beautiful with buffalo horn too, no shitodome. You can see here how it's clean. Everything is like the high top of what I've seen for practical swords from China, with a price around 800-900 euros. Here the Kojiri with buffalo horn. The Sageo is a Japanese silk, so this is the perfect. All the things on the Koshirai are made in Japan, and all the craft is like marvelous. The Shinonome is really nice too, really thick cotton. I think this is the best Shinonome that I've seen. Here, Nagasa 71.4, carbon steel T10, weight 1,122 grams, POB 16.3, Motohaba 3.1, Sakihaba 2.45, Motokasane as usual 7mm, Sakikasane 3.8mm, sorry 2.4. So this is the most important sorry that we have ever seen on Running Hood, and now practicing Kion. Here it is HUAWEI DOTANUKI. The not my favorite, big sorry, almost more than 2.3 centimeters. It's really not enjoyable, so I will just do simple cuts from Jodan and Aso. So here you can see that it's difficult for me to hold the sword because it's really heavy monouchi. We will talk about that later. So here the weight is pretty much here, from here to here. So all the weight is here. It's really difficult because the weight is getting in front and my posture is moving, pulling back, but I have to be careful with my torso to not destroy some joints here, and I have inconvenience in comfort on the joint zone up there, so I am really careful with this type of blade. So because of the story that is too important, you have a C3 balance, all the weight is almost here, and it's not, for me, correct. I would appreciate to have a sword that is just 1.5, sorry, and it would be a great sword because the craft is pretty amazing here, but the story is so, for me, bad that I have to be really careful. I'm using the bottom, just the bottom, on handling free. So the sorry of 2.4 and the weight distribution are a huge problem for me in my practice, and I think for anyone that would have a size under 1 meter 90 centimeters. So maybe a tall guy could have no inconvenience with this weight distribution. That was HUAWEI sword, DOTANUKI, no heat. 1 kilo and 100 grams, around 26 or 27, and here 71. Now the cutting test. So the simple cuts were okay. I had discovered a few times ago that for these years with this sword, before reviewing it, the edge was not sharp. So you can see here the difference with the Johnny Anya. So we have talked about the heavy monouchi is the major problem. The weight distribution make my muscle tired to hold it, and it's dangerous for my clavicles. So this is the major problem. And the second one is the sharpness. We will talk about it later, but the sharpness is not there, and that's make it a huge problem for tamashigiri. So it's between dual and sharp. Here you can see how it's more efficient with the Johnny Anya, and there is no niku. We will talk about niku later. So the sharpness is really important in tamashigiri. Even you can cut some omote on simple cuts without a sharp edge. And on the field of battle in feudal times, they were not having very sharp edge because they could break easily. However, the Dotanuki style should have a sharp edge, a strong high shinogiji, and maybe some niku from what I know. So having you muscle tired fast make your posture weaker, and that means that your edge alignment can be wrong, so you miss the cut. You can see here all the difference between the Dotanuki, HUAWEI, and Anya from John Lee, and this is massive how one doesn't work and the other work. So all the no-kyuchi were impossible from my abilities. Maybe someone or two, but it was with a huge, massive weight transfer. And it was not cutting at all. It was not enjoyable physically because my muscle and joints were giving too much, and I was feeling not great on clavicles, and I didn't want to injure myself. And so easy with the Johnny Anya, that will be the next sword that I will review as a second edition. if you remember the beginning of Ronin Hood, I start with Anya, so that will be the second edition. It was the same day with the same swordman. Now we will talk about Niku geometry and dual sharp edge. I think the major problem with this sword after the weight distribution is the dual sharp edge. And the third problem, it is about the Niku geometry. That for me is really less efficient when it's getting into the material, through the material during the cut. Because I feel, but I can be wrong, but I feel that even it's not really sharp, there is a problem with the geometry of the blade that is not getting into the material smoothly, and it's not for me enjoyable to practice with this weight distribution, this type of edge, and this type of geometry blade. So here you have the major points of how I felt it during the tamashigiri practice. You can see that I feel as a beginner, most of the time is not getting into it. The tamashigiri stands are falling, and I finished with simple cuts, understanding how it was useless to try difficult cuts. Now the Suemonogiri results and versus with Anya Johnny. We will try to understand now what's happening in matter of dynamic. So a posture is a straight scapula. Pressuring from the ground, you go to your straight scapula with your 2 points, your 2 feet points on the ground. And it's getting to your center, to your pelvis. Here from your pelvis, you have the extension to the tip. And to the tip, it's connected to your shoulders and to your back muscle. So all the muscles holding the sword on regular weight. So you have your legs, you have your feet, you have your butt, you have your pelvis, you have your abs, you have your back muscles, and you have your shoulders. It's what is holding the regular weight in yellow color. And you have the extra weight that is transferred directly to your clavicles that are holding the sword extra weight. And this is why I think this sword is, even with the correct measurement for my size, is not a correct sword with these measurements, because it can hurt even on kesagiri or gyaku kesa or suihei. So here you can understand the anatomy of the posture and why on dynamics it's having a huge problem. Vertical pressure from the floor to the straight scapula and horizontal extension to hips and back muscles. The sword hurt less in Jodan Kame or Saigen Kame or Waki Kame than Shudan Kame or Ichino Kame because the weight is less supported by clavicles. Here from you, you can understand what is happening in my body during the Kame and during the cuts. So I had one omote with 1 point, then omote 2, 0 points. Then I had a 1 point on Mizugaeshi after I messed Kawasemi. Then omote 3, 0 points. Then tombo, 0 points. Omote 4, 0 points. Omote 5, 0 points. Omote 6, 0 points. Omote 7, 1 point. So 3 points on 7 omote, it's 8 on 20. It's a really, really ugly result on Suemonogiri. And I think 3 omote would be enough for this sword because it doesn't worth it. Here you have 1 point all the time with this Nagasa that is longer than it should be for my size, but it's pretty well working with even with a too long Nagasa and a too long Tsuka. Tsuka is 30, it should be 24, and it's 73.5, it should be 71. No Niku, Shinogizo Kori, very beautiful, and I will talk about that, how I love John Lee Anya, and with time now, 6 or 7 years, It's one of my favorite swords, even not at my measurements. I will talk about that in the next episode. You can see how it was a flawless victory with this Anya instead of the other one of this present review. And I did many things, many suihei, many kata application, nihon me, nuki suihei and kesa, sonbon me, tsuki, and then kesa. Everything was pretty well working and had a huge, great energy with the sword, a great connection, and the work on kata were like pretty nice. And it was with less omote. That's really sad, because less omote, better results, but this is the way. Gohon me, migi kesa, ippon me, reverse nuki uchi of gyaku kesa from front leg. Nihon me nuki uchi of suihei and then kesa, sonbon me tsuki and then kesa. Katate of suihei with reverse grip. I never did that before. You will see that in next episode. Migi suihei, and you will see all of that in next episode. Omote 1, it was 1 point. And we will see in detail in next episode. So Shudan Kamae with Anya Chonli is this anatomy. You have a vertical, horizontal, and transversal extension. So this is how you make your posture. Vertical pressure from the floor to your head with a straight scapula. And then you have the horizontal extension from your back muscles to the tip with reinforcement with your shoulders. And you have your pelvis, legs, and the ground, pressure on the ground. So shoulders, back muscle, pelvis, muscles. You have your butt, you have your legs. This is the muscles are holding the major weight of the sword. The transversal extension is about from your hips to the tip. You have 2 hips, and this extension is helping you to hold the weight. So here you can see C2 is with a centered massive part of the weight on the central part of the blade with orange color. This is the major weight. Here, shoulders, back muscle, pelvis, and butt that are holding this major weight. This is with the color orange. Here you have with yellow the muscles used for supporting the global weight of the sword. That means on the sword, the green part and the orange part. So shoulders, back muscle, pelvis, abs, butt, and legs and feet. Here on green, you have the minor weight of the sword. This is the part where it's not heavy. You have almost nothing in the tsuka and almost nothing in the monouchi. So this is how the weight is on Anya Junli. Here with Araki Yarino Anzo on Shudan Kamae, it's a C1 blade and the anatomy is totally different. So a C1 blade, it's centered close from the tsuba. So we won't have the same way to deal with this weight and to feel in your posture. So you have the vertical, horizontal, and transversal distribution, extension. So here you have the horizontal extension from the tip to your shoulders, back muscles, pelvis, butt, legs, and feet. You can see here this is the back muscles, here pelvis, abs, and your butt, your legs, and your feet. So this is the horizontal extension. Here you have the transversal extension from your hips to the tip. So it's connected. That's make the posture. So you hold the weight, and here you have the extra weight with the red color. So the extra weight means that extra means there is too much here in my perception, the way I feel, and you have too much on your back muscles. especially here. So for me, it can hurt if the posture is too weak. So it is extra weight on your back, the low back, and you have to hold it with more tension in your shoulders to avoid to have some pain in your low back. Okay? And you can see the red on the sword. The yellow muscles used for supporting the global weight of the swords are the feet, the legs, your butt, and pelvis, abs, back muscles, and shoulders. So this is the global weight. And you have minor weight of the sword in green here. So horizontal, transversal, and vertical extension. That is how you make your posture works. So now you can understand more difference between C2 and C1. And here, what is a C3 with a HUAWEI DOTANUKI? A C3 is totally different, also with vertical, horizontal, and transversal extension from the ground to your head, vertical pressure from the ground to the scapula, straight scapula, and then you have horizontal extension from the tip to your back muscles, shoulders, pelvis, legs, and ground. You can see all the different muscle group: pelvis, abs, butt, legs, here and here, and your feet pressuring the floor. So transversal extension from your hips to the tip. Okay? Here you have the major weight, extra weight in red. So that means it's really heavy. And this extra weight is transferred directly here on your clavicles, like we have said before. But here it's more detailed. So this extra weight is a problem because during the dynamic of the movement, you can feel hurting on your clavicles if your body doesn't fit to this extra weight. That's why I think it's not so a great sword with this and weight distribution. Here in yellow, muscles used for supporting the global weight, as we have seen before: shoulders, back, pelvis, abs, butt, legs, and feet. And the minor weight of the sword here in green, that is pretty light. And the posture, vertical, horizontal, and transversal. So I think here you can understand the difference between the three different types of weight distribution. Now the tamashigiri note. So the tsuka is shape 6/10, size 8, grip 7, sturdiness material 9, safety 7, design 9, quality material 10, weight 8, healthy for the waist joint 8, maneuverability 8, good value for money 7. The blade, Nagasa 7, steel 9, sharpness 2, weight 6, geometry 5, weight distribution balance 5, sturdiness 8, Hammond 9, curve 2, good value for money 5. So the tsuka is not a huge problem, even I don't appreciate so much the Riko shape, and the blade is a huge problem because this for me make it unpractical with my size. Saya 9.5, 9 on the grip, sturdiness material 9, design 9, quality material 9.5, weight 9, good value for money 9.5. It's a great saya. It's a really, really beautiful saya. So you remember that the saya has a really beautiful buffalo horn. And practical 5, I could put some 4 on 10, but I put 5 because for a taller guy I think it would be more appreciable. Tamashigiri note 5, batto-do note 4. I didn't evaluate with Niten because it was not possible. Good value for money for me it's 5. this sword should be perfect if with the correct sori, with a bohi and a sori of 1.5, with a bohi and I would say maybe centered more to the center of the blade and not too much on the monouchi. Example of a too heavy blade, that is a C3, the worst for me. It's a blade that is really complicated and it's really my limit. I can't train so many hours with it because of two important sori, the HUAWEI, and I think it's a good example of how you can reduce the weight if you have too much weight in front. That means that you can use the handling fork if there is too much weight on the monouchi, like for this blade, because the sori is too important with a 2.3 sori. So I'm here having handling 3 and I see that here on the torso I feel that it's too much contract and it's a bit uncomfortable. That means that it's too much weight and it's not on the good place for my body, even with correct stances and posture. That means the weight distribution doesn't fit to my body. So there you can use your shinken maybe if you think it's not too heavy, following the guide side of Tozando. I will use the handling fork. The handling fork is that my hand will touch the tsuba. It's like a handling 3, but because it will touch the tsuba here, it will reduce the leverage effect. That means that the sword won't bring me so much front if there is too much weight here. It's a C3, that means for me all the weight is from here to here. And because it has a too much sori curve, I have too much weight here and almost nothing here. So it's really hurting sometimes for me on torso, clavicular here. So that's why I don't like so much practicing with it. But my best option is to use handling fork. It will reduce the power, but I will have no damage here. And I will use just an advancing kesagiri cut that will reduce also the power and tension on my body, like this. So with the handling fork touching the tsuba, it reduces the leverage effect. So I will have, it would be, I think, difficult to cut, but I can practice with it. And at the end, instead of controlling like this, I will turn my torso to reduce the tension on my torso because of this special blade. So I'm not doing the cut from Jodan because it will be too powerful to my torso on the tension. And I just twist a little bit, even I shouldn't, because it's a special blade. It's a really complicated blade for me. So most of the time I just practice simple things, keeping safe with handling 4 or handling 3 from also advancing with one cut, twisting a little bit to avoid to hurt myself. I have too much power and tension from handling 3, so I move to handling 4. A last exercise to show you how to see if the blade suits to you or not is the balance test. So that means that you are here and just handling the blade, you see from right to left, like this, how your body holds the weight Here it's a blade that is complicated for me, so I'm really careful with it. And I was not so happy of the cutting test. But it's a good example for watching how to check if the blade suits to you. This is the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. Stay focused, peaceful mind and body healthy, and see you soon in the next episode in Ronin Hood.